You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
Time to fire up the VCR. This one's my favorite. That was gold.
Welcome to Analog Jones in the Temple of Film. I'm Steve.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're a VHS podcast that looks at the trailers, box art, and behind the scenes. Matt, what's number 2 in our Ladies Month?
Yes, we are taking a look at Heart and Souls.
Oscar nominee Robert Downey Jr. and an all-star cast, including Charles Grodin.
I'll fail. I'm telling you, I always fail.
Kyra Sedgwick.
You're so afraid of being hurt. You're going to end up all alone.
Elizabeth Shue.
Anytime things get remotely serious, you start, I don't know, wiggling around.
Tom Sizemore.
I'm a professional, all right?
And Academy Award nominees David Paymer.
Let's go, dead people.
And Alfre Woodard.
I am so proud of you.
Tell you what, I'll give you a little preview.
Critics call it the best movie of the year.
I'm gonna walk like a man, fast as you can, walk.
And the best comedy of the year. A magical fantasy, an absolute joy, funny, powerful, uplifting. Every moment is magic. Robert Downey Jr. gives an Oscar-caliber performance.
Not so much a ladies-driven movie, but requested by one of our female listeners. So that is why we are doing this one.
Sarah, you want to call out Anna?
Yeah, I'd like to give a big shout out to Anna Wong, who gave us this movie and requested that we watch it. And so today, Anna, this is for you.
Anna, you got good taste, girl. Good taste.
Yeah, girl.
For a good 6 months, every time she saw me, she's like, when are you going to do Heart and Souls? And I'm like, eventually we're going to get to it.
And actually, it wasn't just when she saw you, it's when she would text me and see me too. So we're finally doing it for you, girl.
Persistence pays off, kids.
Yeah, and I fought against it. It was me being a jerk, being like, it's not like a female-driven movie. It's about like a guy coming around and being like manning up, and it's like, oh, but it's female requests. Okay, okay.
Well, it's all about the touchy-feely. I mean, love. That's kind of a girl thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's got Elizabeth Shue in it, sort of.
Well, and I mean, Alfre Woodard and Kyra Sedgwick are pretty strong female characters, so that's,
but they're not alive.
They're ghosts. They're ghosts. We're watching a ghost movie, but it's not a horror movie for a change.
Yeah, it is interesting. Now, history with this, I know, Matt, you've already said you love this. So you probably watched this a ton as a kid?
Yeah, it's just one of those movies that I watched probably non-stop as a kid. This came out in 94. I was 4 or 5 at the time. And I watched this I wore the VHS out that we would rent from the store over and over and over again. Then I went a good 15 years without seeing it again. You know, just loved it as a kid. And then revisited it and was like, oh yeah, this is amazing.
Sarah, what was your history with this?
Well, actually, when I saw the outside of the box, I didn't remember anything about it, and so when we put it in the VHS, I was like, oh, okay, this will be a good little chick flick to watch or something. But as soon as it started and we got through about the first 5 minutes, I remembered it like it was yesterday. And I have a feeling that I might have saw it in the theaters because it was very vivid, everything that happened.
Yeah, I didn't ever rent this or anything, but I definitely saw it on syndication. That's about it. A couple times. It seemed like it was on a lot during the summers, during the days or something like that. Definitely Sundays after wrestling.
It's just funny that it was on TV so much because any media version of this movie is extraordinarily hard to find. Hard to find on DVD, there is no Blu-ray, and the VHS was super hard to find. When I got my VHS, we had to special order it for $30 from a Suncoast Video because they didn't carry it. This is just a hard one to find. It's not worth anything. It's not one of those super rare super expensive titles, but it is just one that they just didn't make a lot of. And any media. DVDs never came out on Blu-ray. I'm looking at you, Shout Factory. I think it's time.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I had no idea this was so hard to find.
That's why I think I saw it in the theater, because I don't remember watching it on syndication.
Huh. All right, well, that's good to know. Let's get into the quick facts on this. It was directed by Ron Underwood, and any of our fans will know that name because we've mentioned it before. He did a certain movie called Tremors, City Slickers.
Yeah.
Mighty Joe Young.
Dude's prolific in sort of just like Hollywood movies, yeah.
Yeah, he's a fan who directs movies.
I think that's what it is, yeah.
I've seen him on featurettes and documentaries. He's just having a blast. One of the best ones I've seen him on is The Making of Tremors. And first of all, he's got a glorious mullet, just like Kevin Bacon did in that. But Kevin Bacon's is kind of like from the front to the back mullet. Underwood's is like almost a real mullet. The like total party in the front, or business in the front, party in the back.
Oh wow! I've never seen Ron Underwood. I don't know what he looks like, but I like his movies.
Yeah. Young Ron Underwood looks, 80s ridiculous.
Nice.
So
he's a great filmmaker.
He is. He's fun. Produced by Sean Daniel. This is an interesting guy. He's a powerhouse in the industry, but you don't hear a ton on him. He was the youngest ever president in Universal.
Okay.
And during his tenure, he did movies like Back to the Future, Animal House, 16 Candles, Brazil, The Blues Brothers, Field of Dreams. I mean, so this guy, he obviously creative people like him, and he attracts them to these wonderful titles. But I also saw that he just started his own production company, which is called Mythos, and just signed like a mega deal with Amazon to like produce all these kind of like sci-fi comic book movies.
Nice. Well, Universal was on top of the world at that time, so it'd be fun to see if we could do that with Amazon now.
It could happen. You never know.
Another thing of note is that a couple of the writers on this one are the writers of Tremors also.
Yeah, I saw that. They make a return. Brent, Maddock, and S.S. Wilson.
Yep. My VHS is signed by S.S. Wilson. They did a screening of Tremors and Batteries Not Included a bunch of years ago. Back when we used to do fun screenings in Chicago. That came through.
He knows people, babe. We don't know anyone.
I don't know. We're not friends.
So Heart and Soul's cast, it has some guy named Robert Downey Jr. as the lead.
Yeah.
I don't know who he is.
It was a big time for him, right? This time of the 90s.
Yeah, this is right after...
Chaplin?
Yeah. So this is right after Chaplin.
Yeah,
right? Was Chaplin 1990?
Yeah.
It was right after his 1992 Academy Award nomination, and then he hit rock bottom.
Oh, no. Yeah, you could actually tell in this movie... he's doing Robert Downey Jr. He's doing his shtick that he's so good at, but there's like something missing behind his eyes. You could tell that he is heavily medicated throughout this movie.
Yeah, and then we had Eric Lloyd, which played him, the Thomas character, when he was 7 years old. And I kept looking at this kid when he was on. I mean, he's barely on screen. I don't know, like, what, 10 minutes?
No, they give him a little while.
Is it a little longer?
Yeah, it might be like 20 minutes. It's a good chunk of this movie.
Did he look recognizable to either of you two?
As a kid actor.
Yeah, he was in the Santa Claus trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't look familiar to me, but he was a cute little kid.
Yeah, it was definitely cute. Yeah, so him and Tim Allen were buddies for a whole trilogy, and I know Matt's super jealous.
Oh, God, I fucking hate Tim Allen.
Oh, really?
And this is before, like, the whole, like, I'm a Republican in Hollywood, woe is me. This was just, like, I just never thought he was funny. I never liked Home Improvement. I never liked his shtick. I just was like, I don't like this guy. And now I have more reason to not like him.
Let's move on to someone we all like.
Yeah. Alfre Woodard?
Alfre Woodard.
I love her.
She is, like, going strong for like, from 1980 on, it seems like.
Yeah, and I have to mention that she never changes in age. She still looks as the same as she does then as she does now.
But there is a Marvel connection here. They're
She's
both in
one
the
of
Marvel
them.
universe. Yeah, she's in Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
Which again, Matt, huge fan.
Huge fan of any of the Captain America, Bucky Barnes story movies. Barf.
Yeah, I would agree.
Wow, really? Oh yeah, you fell asleep during Civil War.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did in the theater.
You wanted to, I bet, though, because that movie sucks.
All I have to say,
No.
Not to go beyond what we're supposed to be talking to, but I just did not understand the concept behind that Civil War movie. Nobody died. They were just fighting for nothing.
Well, it's a Marvel movie. No one
There's
dies.
no stakes in a Marvel movie.
But why would you name it Civil War if no side wins and nobody dies?
Because Captain America and Iron Man were fighting a civil war within the group.
But that's just it's
but that's
a
dumb.
tussle. It's not even a fight.
When I saw this, I saw it. Captain America Civil War, and I thought this is stupid.
That movie should be called Civil Disagreement because that's what that movie is.
I agree.
Well, I
still agree.
We're going on a side note here. During the final fight, when everything's super epic, the music is loud, punching, everyone's like moving moving to the edge of their seat, so to speak. At least most people. You two,
I was probably sleeping
I was
at that
probably checking
point.
my watch, because I was like, neither of these guys are going to die, and they're going to get along by the end of this movie, so I got to dip.
That's kind of what I felt, and I wasn't even sure what I was watching. I was dragged to that movie.
You were not dragged.
It wasn't with you. I was with somebody else, but I was dragged to that movie.
No, you... Okay. I never dragged you at all.
I don't think I was.
But everything's happening. It's a super fight. I look over and her mouth is open and her eyes are shut and she's just out. And I had to hit her with my elbow.
That's like every movie we go to in the theater.
No, that was
7:00.
That was the last movie I took you to. When it was late in the day because you kept falling asleep. And I said, you know what? I'm going to learn my lesson.
Yeah. People should know that about me.
Yeah, it was pretty funny because I just looked. It's so loud. The theater was so loud.
I also fell asleep in Con Air when I was in high school, so if that says anything. Sound asleep.
You know who didn't fall asleep in Con Air? Kyra Sedgwick.
That's true.
Sedgwick. I'm looking. Okay, I keep looking left and right. This is so hard.
I can just tell you, I'm looking at them. Kyra Sedgwick is in this movie. Elizabeth Shue is in this movie. Tom Sizemore is in this movie. David Paymer is in this movie. Charles Grodin is in this movie.
Can we talk about Elizabeth Shue, though, in this movie? I actually felt like she did not get enough screen time, and her character was just kind of blah.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I didn't really focus on her at all.
Elizabeth Shue's really good at that role.
But she is cute as a button, as usual.
Yeah, I always feel bad for her in a lot of movies. This was her in the Back to the Futures, 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. This was her in Death Wish that we had to... Well, we didn't have to, but we chose to review that for you.
We chose to have to watch that. We chose to have to watch that.
But she, and the thing is, like, she's had roles like Leaving Las Vegas where you're like, wow.
Like meaty roles, yeah. Really, really meaty roles.
So one wonders what the fuck these producers are doing.
Well, wasn't this the time... This was the time in her career where she was like the new hot thing, right?
Yeah. So if you get a new hot thing, you don't just, if you get a brand new Ferrari, you just don't leave it in the garage. Well, I mean, these people do.
Yeah, I don't know, but so it says here on the cover, it says a comedy about 2 hearts, 4 souls, and second chances. But I think that's misleading because they hardly even really talked about 2 hearts.
I have about 800 words of notes here, and I forgot to mention Elizabeth Shue's character, so I had to go back in my notes and put a little bit in there because I felt bad. But honestly, when I was reviewing the movie in my head, I forget she's in it.
Well, even if you think about it, too, I think more so that it's not Elizabeth Shue's movie. It's barely Robert Downey Jr.'s movie. It is the Ghosts movie. We start with them.
That's true.
We follow them. It's their story through his story. So she obviously is not a focal point because we're following the ghosts. It's about them. The movie ends after the ghosts, spoilers, well, you guys will watch it. The movie ends after the ghosts do their thing. It doesn't, they hookup at the end, but like that's not the story. The story is the ghost.
Again, I forgot that everything worked out at the very end. I knew everything would work out at the very end. I know this type of movie, but I had to go back and look into Wikipedia. I'm like, okay, what happened at the end? Oh, right, okay. And so, well, anyway, let's actually break down the movie because there's no trailers to talk about in this damn tape.
Well, yeah, let's take a look at this box art real quick before we get to that. And I read the cast because that's basically what the top of the tape is. We get Heart and Souls. It's got a fun little like angel halo logo around the word Souls. And we've got Tom Sizemore, Kyra Sedgwick, Alfred Woodard, and Charles Grodin, who are the ghosts, looking down from the sky on Robert Downey Jr., who could see them, and Elizabeth Shue, who's only got eyes for him, as they're standing in front of San Francisco. I'm assuming San Francisco.
It is, yeah.
San Francisco with like a really nice purple-blue background, with their heavenly light shining on them. Great cover. Love this cover, actually.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's nothing really that this film does bad.
No, I have no complaints or
other than the Elizabeth Shue thing, but it's more of a nitpick.
Yeah, because like I said, I think that's more of a nitpick because it's not her movie, and I think that it's not like they're underserving the female characters because Alfred Woodard and Kyra Sedgwick are great female characters in this, so I think it's just not her movie, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, this cover is great. I love this cover. It definitely conveys that you're going to see a romantic comedy, but it is different. You see it, you're like, oh, there's more going on here than just a typical romantic comedy, because I feel like there is a cover with Robert Downey Jr. and somebody else just like holding each other in each other's arms like this, but nothing else going on the cover. I think I'm thinking of the one with him and Marissa Tomei from this same time.
Right.
Which I don't even know what you're talking about.
I think it's called Only You.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like the cover. I like the four characters at the top. The thing about this movie that is very likable is that each character really does represent somebody you probably know or a feeling that you've probably felt.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Right. Let's go ahead and hit it up with the synopsis.
For those of you who don't know what the hell we're talking about, Heart and Souls is Academy Award nominee Robert Downey Jr. gives a stellar performance in this magical romantic comedy. One fateful night in 1959, Thomas Reilly is born at the exact moment a bus accident claims the lives of Harrison, a frustrated singer, dogged by stage fright, Milo, a two-bit burglar with a guilty conscience, Julia, a young woman who has just let the love of her life get away, and Penny, a single mother who must leave her kids to work the night shift. Soon, the four find themselves earthbound and permanently tied to Thomas, a quartet of loving friends only he can see and hear. When they realize their presence is disrupting the boy's life, they make a heartbreaking decision to become invisible to him. 27 years later, Thomas, Robert Downey Jr., has grown into a hard-driving executive who is driving away his girlfriend, Elizabeth Shue. Finally, the four souls learn that they are connected to Thomas through him. They each have one chance to resolve the unfinished business in their lives. To do this, they must temporarily take over his body, but doubting Thomas wants no part of it. The thing is, he doesn't have a choice. The result is an irresistible blend of both roaring, funny, and deeply touching episodes that combine to make Heart and Souls the best movie of the year, ABC TV.
That is quite a synopsis.
Yeah, I felt like
that's everything going on in this movie.
Wow.
Really long description.
Yeah, so okay, I guess this podcast is over, everyone.
That's what this movie's about.
So, we're not going to go through and break down every scene in this one because this movie flows so fast.
Yeah.
The editing is so good in this.
It's a tight movie.
Yeah, that's why what he says, like, there's nothing really bad in this movie, but to play like contrarian with this, to be the, since you two love it so much, there's also nothing that like really sets it apart. So to me, this is always like a really good B movie. and not isn't bad. I mean, like a letter grade, but I always feel like this needs something else. After every time I watch this, it needs, I don't know what though. I have no solution, so I'm just complaining.
So yeah, I think my thing that sets it apart is the ghost aspect of it, because it is basically a romantic comedy or a redemption story movie, but they're ghosts. I think my obsession with this movie was like, at this time, my favorite movies were like Beetlejuice or The Frighteners. I had this obsession with like the afterlife as a kid, and this one just fit right into that for me.
That's interesting. I never knew you had an obsession with the like afterlife.
Yeah, like a non-religious or interpretation or depiction of the afterlife. I always like all those movies.
Well, you spent most of your time in watching horror movies, so you're gonna come back as an antelope or something. It's gonna, like, you're not gonna be punished, but because we're all sinners,
right? I would love to come. That's the goal.
An antelope?
Well, just like a harmless sort of like, just like their kind of animal, or like a tree that's just kind of not in anybody's way. That's the goal here. If I can come back as something kind of just like dope and lax, I'm good with that.
I gotcha. You should come back as a koala.
Oh, yes. I'm basically a koala now, though. I just sit, I'm real slow, and I just eat all the time.
And are you real grumpy when people try to...
When people try to take my food away, yeah.
We found your spirit animal.
Yeah, I'm a koala bear. Some people compare me to Winnie the Pooh as well.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I think what set this movie aside for me was... It had everything that I love. The girl with aspirations. I can identify with that. The guilt of the guy who steals from the little, or takes the little kid's stamps and wants to return them, and then the fear of standing in front of a crowd and singing, and then love, children love, romantic love, all of that. Those are all the types of things that you don't think of when you think of the afterlife. So it was kind of cool to see how that played out.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm trying to push this movie. I'll just let mostly you two talk about it, because I don't have anything bad to say. Everything's just good, but not great in my opinion. But I mean, I did have a lot of fun with how the bus driver, because he picks all of them up after all of them have done this, and they all meet in the same place, which I think is a really cool way of doing that in the script, because it's such a tight script too. Even though there's two writers, and I think there was a few other people inside of it too. Yeah,
there's 4 credited writers, but there's 2 teams, so I feel like one team wrote the original and the second team just polished it or whatever.
Which
and it works here.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time you get a lot of writers like that, it's trash.
Yeah.
Not this one.
No.
This one came together really nicely. And so when Hal looks over and he's, he kills everyone because he can't keep his eyes off of a pair of sexy legs. And then when he comes back, pretty much, with 2/3 into the movie, they're hey, we got to speed this plot along. He's now the guy who picks up all these lost souls. I just love that punishment.
That's like doing, he's not the worst guy, but now he's got a job to do for the next 1,000 years, and it's to pick up people in his bus to take to the afterlife.
Yeah, you're in heaven, but not really. You're the Uber driver of heaven.
Yeah, because he was being a pervo, looking at legs, and killed these people as they were going to chase their dreams and right the wrongs in their lives.
Well, I mean, when he kills Penny is the one that really got me.
Penny hurts.
Yeah.
That she she just loves her kids. That's just her thing. She's working so that she could give a nice home to her kids. And she loves her kids.
I mean, the Hugaboo?
Yeah.
The Hugabug
Hugabug, yeah.
Hugabug, Mr. Hugabug!
Hurry,
Mr.
come on.
Hugabug!
Yeah. Mr. Hugabug, Hugabug, Hugabug bear. If you try to find him, well, he won't be there. But if you're feeling blue and a little bit scared. He'll be right beside you, Mr. Huggabug Bear. Night night, Angel Faces.
Good night.
No worries.
I really got sidelined by that character because they introduced her and she's like surrounded by cats. So that was really where my mind went. I was like, oh, look at all those cats. All those cats. And the cats do come back later in the story as a way that they can identify, spoiler alert, her son as the cop.
Thomas keeps getting arrested or keeps getting in this cop.
Which is just a fun plot device because as he's helping these people right their wrongs, like, of course he's going to get arrested. He's breaking into people's homes. He's, like, jumping on stage with B.B. King. Like, he's going to get arrested. So I love that the plot device is that he keeps getting arrested and that's how he meets the son.
Even though this isn't Robert Downey Jr.'s movie, he's got moments in this film where he just absolutely shines because the meeting where the ghosts find out that they can take over his body, he gets to do, well, throughout the film, the rest of the film from like the midpoint on, he gets to do all four characters.
Yes.
And he nails them.
Yeah.
And it's so incredible to watch. It's so incredible to watch. I didn't rewatch the movie today, but I went online to find those scenes, and thank God that we have all these nerds out there on YouTube, and they did this, and it's just, he's so damn good.
He even does Alfred Woodard, and it's not offensive. You know, like, he doesn't just, throw on the black voice, and then that's good, Like, he's being her. He has her inflections. It's amazing.
It's so amazing. It's straight up creepy, and then it goes right back to amazing. You're just like, wow, that's...
Yeah, he, like, studied them.
Yeah.
I feel like the only one that's kind of a caricature is Tom Sizemore, but that's because Tom Sizemore is a caricature of himself.
Yeah, he just plays the, like, over macho, hyper masculine
50s hood rat guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I just, like, kind of imagine Tom Sizemore is kind of like in real life anyway.
Well, when he's sober, hopefully, maybe. Or maybe that's because, yeah. Now, him and Robert Downey Jr. are talking about, I guess we'll just get right into the drug use that those two went through in their career. I just find that, like, fascinating when I was watching them both, and then I read their stories. I'm like, ooh.
It's like Robert Downey Jr. bounces back. Tom Sizemore just keeps falling down the hole.
Well, it's because Robert Downey Jr. had a Mel Gibson, and Sizemore didn't.
Yeah, and it's a shame. I think Tom Sizemore actually is a really good actor, but it's just like a shame that he kind of spiraled. But I think he's great. I would like to see him have a nice comeback. Tarantino, hire him. Bring him on for something.
I don't even know if he acts anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Does
I've
he?
seen him in things.
Yeah, he does. He does a lot of bad movies now. I just saw him in a really bad movie.
Oh, because I know he's sober now. He's been sober for a couple years.
It's coming then. The comeback's coming. He's a good actor, so he's...
Yeah. Well, Spielberg said he was an incredible talent in Saving Private Ryan and wanted to use him more, but because... Not that he was sober on Saving Private Ryan's set.
I think that's his thing. He's sober on set and parties offset. He's a Charlie Sheen.
But it was really hard to get insurance for him and to get the movies going. So, Spielberg had to be like, I can't use you anymore. And, that was start of, I don't know when his drug use picked up because Robert Downey Jr.'s like from 96 to 2001 is really where he hit the lows. Sizemore, I think, was like 99 to 2005. I'm sure Sizemore did drugs earlier than that, but that's when it just like boom. So these two kind of overlapped with Troubled Times.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, Robert Downey Jr. got focused, got clean, everything like
Marvel
that.
Money.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was reading up on his drug history. Apparently his dad was a huge drug user, and one of their ways to hang out and to be father-son and have a relationship was to do drugs together. So that's like where his drug problems started and continued.
Yeah, I believe his dad was an actor or a director, and he claimed that he had been doing drugs since age 8. You know, I don't know if that's true, but that's sad. But again, he did bounce back. And another interesting thing about Robert Downey Jr., completely forgot, he was on a season of Saturday Night Live, I think in 85.
Yeah, he was on the bad years. Like, that cast was good because they had Anthony Michael Hall, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Like, they had some good people on the cast. It was a shitty written show.
Yeah, I didn't remember that at all.
It's because it's like the dead years. I've heard people call it. I don't know what the years were, but that was one of them where like nothing seemed to gel. The original writers were gone, and they were just
They were good at spotting talent. That's for damn sure. They just couldn't write for them. But yeah, look at Downey Jr. now. Still probably the top of the A list right now. Still.
I think he's one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood, right?
He should be. If he's not, I'm sure he is. And he's also got a killer Twitter account.
Yeah, and he's pretty hot.
I'm not gonna lie with you, he is.
Yeah.
He's a good looking dude.
Like, even as he gets older, I find him to still be pretty attractive. So, yeah.
No one will say that about Tom Sizemore, though. That's what's sad.
I keep thinking Tom Sizemore is in like a Hot Tub Time Machine or something, or Hot Tub Time Machine 2. I could be wrong, but like it seems like a movie that he would be in.
No. So is he starring in like alt-right type like shoot 'em ups? Really cheap,
he's just starring in anything that will pay his rent. Like that one. It's just he's doing like.
That's what I noticed is a lot of these actors who can't get jobs in Hollywood anymore, they'll go to like the super Christian ones or the alt-right.
Yeah, no, it's not those. He's just popping up in whatever. Yeah. He's not like my buddy Robert Davey, who wants to fight me.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I wonder if he went down that route. Even though he might not be that person, I was wondering if he had to go down that route.
Like a Greg Kinnear.
Yes. Oh, no. Okay, yeah. We're gonna get ourselves out of this hole now. Back to this movie. So going back to the Robert Downey Jr., where he's in the office meeting and they're trying to destroy this yuppie's life. Part of me was mad about that. I was just like, whoa, Ghost, calm down. I mean, maybe do this somewhere else, like his apartment. But again, an office
trying
meeting.
to destroy his life.
Well, they
were.
He's in the most important meeting. Oh, I think he said the most important meeting of his business because he's making this huge, massive $1 million deal. And then they're like, "Oh, let's." Sizemore takes control of it and he goes, "I'm gonna hit on that woman right there." I'm like, these ghosts have watched this kid grow up.
They're pent up in his body. They need something. And so he wanted to hit on the lady. That's the comedy of it.
And I think they should. This job's bad for him. Who cares if it's $1 million deal? Like, it's eating away his life.
Yeah, there's some symbolism in that.
Break free of the shackles of a shitty job.
Yeah, walk like a man. Talk like a man.
Well, he was. I don't know. I just don't like that, but it was a great scene.
Yeah, when he slides across the table.
Yeah.
To the one female in the office, it's really funny.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it cracked
all
up.
the papers go flying, and he just slides effortlessly. Like, Downey Jr. is in command of his body in this movie because he does the body language of all the other actors in here, and like, yeah, he's really good physical comedian. No wonder he was Chaplin, you know.
And he's really good at playing Milo. So when he was... Because that was one scene I really wanted to rewatch because it didn't stick out. It was so subtle. But when I rewatched it today and he's about to sing and you can see he's so scared and how he plays it, I was like, damn it. And Milo was my favorite...
Harrison. Milo's Tom Sizemore. Harrison.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because Milo is the stamp stealer.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Harrison, whatever. I don't really care about their names except Penny. Penny's really stuck in my head.
I know all of their names because I can hear that child crying all of them. And he's like, Julia!
Oh.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Don't go, come back! Milo! Julia! Harrison!
Oh,
So that's
gosh,
how I know
it's
what all
all
their
like in
names.
my head now.
That's how I know all their names, because I can hear the kid crying them.
That's like how you cry, huh?
Yeah. Probably.
Oh man, yeah, because this movie came out when you were 3, so you probably did. Your parents are taking away the VHS, like, no, Matt, you have to go to bed. Milo!
Yeah, right.
Penny! Julia! Harrison!
I'm gonna have to call your parents, see if I can get that recording. They're like, oh yeah, we used to record him crying all the time.
If you ask, this one is such like a part of my childhood. If you ask my parents about this movie, they'll be like, yeah, he was obsessed. We saw that movie 300 times.
Oh yeah, that would be my parents about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Yeah, mine was Annie.
So she has like 5 DVDs, maybe?
I have 4 or 5 DVDs. One of them's Annie.
Well, that's the one that matters because it cracked me up because it was just like in the middle. And you know how when you're just like, she's like, oh, you told me I could have all of them. And I was like, okay. And that right when I pulled that one out, I was just like, yep.
I think it's Annie, and then I have Newsies, and then I have some Broadway musicals that went to...
It's not the audience for Broadway musicals.
Yeah, I went to Brent.
We just lost all of our...
No, but you brought us Grease 2.
That's true.
That's where it all began for me.
Grease 2 is that and Earth Girls Are Easy. That's like this podcast type musicals. That's the ones we do.
Yes.
Maybe a Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
Love that one too.
Have you guys done that one yet?
It's a hard VHS to find that one.
I don't know.
We should
I would love to do that one.
Oh, I love that movie.
Anything with a song and dance. Which, by the way, remember this movie had a song and a dance.
Yes, the scene when they sing "Walk Like a Man" when he's a kid, but the scene when they do the first good deed or whatever, and then they are in the middle of the street and basically have a musical number to "Walk Like a Man." Fantastic, phenomenal. Like you could just tell they're all having fun, and I'm just like, that's infectious. Like,
I thought it was really awesome. I mean, I like anything with a good song and dance, but I also was like, well, this is kind of weird. Like it's kind of the middle of the movie and didn't really have any point. Maybe I had fallen asleep for a couple minutes and then woke up right when they were singing.
Yeah, I think it was just showing that all these characters have reconnected. You know, it's kind of like if you see an old friend from high school, like your really good friend, and you haven't seen them in years.
Yeah, we definitely see
and you
dance.
As soon as you're together, it's like no time passed.
Yeah, and like, what's that connective tissue? And like, that's the song for them.
Yeah.
That's their connective tissue.
So if we get into the wrap-ups of these characters, Milo gets into Thomas's body and steals those stamps back from a much older... I don't know if it was just a rich man. Was he part of the mafia or something?
I think he was like a gangster. I don't know if he was like a mafia guy, but he was like a 50s gangster.
Yeah.
He was a hood.
But Milo gets into Thomas's body and then goes and re-steals them back to give them back to the kid that he had ripped off. And like when it ends, that one really, like, I was a little surprised they went with Milo first. But I get it because he was so headstrong. Of course, he would be the first one to like force himself into Thomas to do it.
Right.
So I guess it makes sense. But I'm just surprised they wanted to get rid of Sizemore so quick.
Yeah, he's having fun.
Yeah.
But the movie after, like, we sort of get the setup with David Paymer, like, I have to take you guys all back one by one. And once we sort of get that really kicks off just like the third act of the movie.
Oh, the third act flies.
It just flies. It's like, because we just hit each of their 4 stops that they have to make, starting with Sizemore. But once we get to that point, this thing just flies. Because basically the first act is young Thomas. Second act is older Thomas reconnecting with the ghost. And third act is them redeeming themselves. It's a really well-structured movie.
Yeah, and Charlie... Gordon, is that his name?
Charles Grodin.
Charles Grodin from the Beethovens.
Yes.
I know he's actually like, did he ever win an Oscar or was he just nominated?
He was nominated for, was he nominated Midnight Run?
Is it Midnight Run?
I think he might have been nominated for that.
Yeah.
Which I've actually never seen.
He's made some great movies.
But I've seen Beethoven a lot of times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, I know that you've been in a ton... Like, if I ever met him in real life, I know you've been in a ton of great movies. Maybe you won an Oscar nominated. But, you know, you're always going to be Beethoven's dad to me.
It's like Academy Award winner Kenneth Branagh for his portrayal as a mechanical spider half-man in... Wild Wild West. Same thing.
Award-winning. You're always going to be that crazy Dr. Lovelace to me, Kenneth. You'll never escape that role. So, yeah, it wraps up really quick. Harrison enters Thomas's body and then sings the national anthem at a B.B. King concert, and B.B. King is really there.
Yeah, there's no actor playing B.B. King. B.B. King shows up in this movie and then plays guitar for Robert Downey Jr. as Charles Grodin singing the national anthem.
And I love that B.B. King's smiling, he's all happy and everything, and then the cops are like, yeah, now you gotta go to jail.
And B.B. King's probably like, get this guy off my stage.
But we bump back into the cop, and when we bumped into the cop the second time, that's when my brain went, well, what are they doing with this character? There's a lot of screen time. Still did not figure it out until it happened that cop is actually one of Penny's children.
And her favorite child.
Basically, yeah. The little one.
The little one, the cute one. Because the girls are somewhere in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get to see them. I thought that was interesting. But, you know, I don't think we really need to. I think that would have made the script a little bit too filled.
Yeah, we saw the connection with her and the little boy. So we had to...
Right.
That's what we had to reconnect with later. Yeah, and we literally... run into him when Robert Downey Jr. in a frenzy drives his car into his car as he's leaving the police station.
And the cop's wife gets out of the actual car with a child, and I was like, oh God, he didn't hurt the kid, did he? That's immediately where my brain went.
A darker movie.
Bus driver shows up and is like, Penny, you gotta go. And then Penny gets out of there after Thomas hugs the cop. And then
she possesses him to hug the cop. It's really sweet. All of these scenes are just so sticky sweet. I love it, though. It works. Like, it's not like I see them manipulating me. I'm like, no, this is how you do sticky sweet. Like, it works for me.
Yeah, no, I really did enjoy that scene. I was glad she got to see her son again. And I actually I didn't remember it as we were going into the scene, but as soon as you know, we got to the scene and they were talking, I was like, oh yeah, that's her son. And I was so happy. I had all the feels.
So it snuck up on you too.
It did, and it did. Like I said, I remembered a lot of it, but I had forgotten that was who the character was. Mm-hmm. But yeah, as soon as it happened, I felt pretty happy.
Well, and then Julia gets to write a letter to her long-lost love, and then we deliver it to no one because they get to the house, and it's like they don't live here anymore. They died.
Yeah, it's a major bummer. Another, just good move for this movie, because they could have just had it, again, be like, all right, they've connected, everything's fine, but no, it's like, he died. Sorry.
It wraps around really nice, because Julia then realizes that, like, oh, my business now is to, like...
Is you.
To make sure you don't make the same mistake.
Because Thomas is pushing every girl away because he's focused on the business and everything like that, but, like, Elizabeth Shue really likes him. It just wants him to meet her parents, and he's just being flaky because that's what he does. So Julia's got to be like, no, like, she loves you. You obviously love her. Make this work, bro.
Yeah, and wasn't there a line where he's like, well, I have a hard time connecting because, you know, early in my... I don't know what he says, but basically when the ghost left, you know, he didn't feel like he could connect with anyone else because they would just abandon him.
Right, he was afraid of being abandoned again, yeah.
That's deep. That's some deep sadness there.
Well, I mean, he made it. He had 4 ghosts help him get through his problem. This movie wraps up nicely. They dance, and then 4 stars twinkle in the night, you know, to let him know, I guess, hey, we made it. We're good.
Yeah, we're still watching over you.
That's how it works.
Now, my mind got pretty immature when I was thinking, wait, they watched him grow up his entire life?
My brain thought that too.
I hadn't even thought of that. Oh, stop.
Yeah.
Wait, you boys. Ridiculous.
We're talking about when he, farts and stuff. What are you talking about?
I was talking about him jerking off.
Yeah, I'm glad somebody's being honest here.
Yeah, that's immediately what I thought. I go, oh no.
Now I have this visual of the four of them just sitting uncomfortably, in the same room as he's jerking off.
We saw. Here's my defense of it. We saw when he goes into the meeting. They have to follow him around, but they don't have to be in the room with him. They just have to be within a certain proximity of him because he closes the door on them. They are separate from. They then go into the room to possess him and stuff like that. So they can be on the other side of his bedroom door while he's doing his business.
Well, I'm glad that you guys really did give some good thought to that.
Well, maybe they went to the roof. They can
go to the roof. They just have to be within a certain proximity. They don't need to be in the room with him.
I feel like you guys are just reassuring yourselves that your own ghosts weren't in the rooms with you.
Oh, fuck my ghost. I hope they go through everything. Get out of my fucking life.
This is actually your life stories.
We're both yuppies.
90s yuppies? Oh man, what's that like?
I don't.
What's having a lot of money like?
Are we podcast yuppies? Where's our money, damn it? Yeah, so I have one last, this isn't a complaint or anything like that, but I think someone should punch Hal in the face for the wait, no one told you what you guys are supposed to do? Yeah, Hal, because you are a fucking awful bus driver.
Yeah, he's it took me 20 years to come find you guys.
Well, you see, what you're supposed to have done is to take care of the one thing that would have made your lives complete. I'm not talking about making $1 million or shacking up with some pinup girl or something.
Shacking up with some pinup girl doesn't...
Shut up. How in the world are we supposed to do that? We're spirits.
Yeah, we can't make a phone call. We can't...
Punch some bus driver in the chops? Your corporeal being. You're supposed to use him as a vehicle. And if he won't do it, you enter his body and you make him do it.
Enter his body. We can take him over?
Well, that would have been helpful to know.
I knew there was a reason for all of this.
Yeah, sure. It's all part of the grand scheme of things. Which is worth diddly if someone doesn't get his halo down here and tell you what's going on.
None of them damn it, Hal, you killed us and you didn't even let us know what we're supposed to do?
That's basically what they say to him when he first shows up. They're for real? You couldn't let us know that we're still here so that we could make amends? Come on.
We could have gotten out watching the kid jerk off.
I do wonder what it would have been like to see little Tommy Sizemore enter that kid's body and then go to the mafia boss or whatever, and then he'd be, hey yo, give me back those stamps.
Yeah, right. If he was on the mission as a 7-year-old.
Yeah, it might not have worked if he was a 7-year-old.
I don't know, but I want to watch that movie.
I want to watch that movie too, but I also don't need to because I've got this movie and it's fucking wonderful.
All right, let's get into the museum.
This is the second time I've had to reclaim my property from you.
That belongs in a museum.
So do you.
Part of the show where we put something in the museum, good or bad, you know how it works. We're just like Indy. I'll let our guests go first.
I've been thinking about this. I think I would put just the walk like a man, talk like a man scene when they're dancing. That goes in the museum. It's purely a magical moment, and I'm a girl who loves her Broadway, and so that really spoke to me. So I would go see that in the Broadway Museum.
I gotta just put the ghosts in general, or any of the ghost imagery in this movie. I like every time it points out that there are ghosts, somebody walks through them, or when they possess, or like when the bus comes through and it's all, purple and hazy. It's got like that 90s afterlife look. So I gotta put the ghosts in the museum this time.
I'm gonna put Robert Downey Jr.'s physical acting or physical comedy, whatever you want to call it. So good being all four of these ghosts.
Yes, he is.
I really don't know how he's so talented. He can even sing. He kind of annoys me when I think about how talented he is.
He can do it all.
Yeah. And he's got a story that would be a New York Times bestseller.
Mm-hmm.
Damn you, Robert Downey Jr.
He's lived a life.
Yeah. And your Twitter account, which I was really going through today just for fun, he is funny.
And he's hot.
Yep. I don't know why I cited that. I'm just like...
Because you're upset because he has it all. He's everything. The total package.
Damn you, Robert Downey Jr. But I would love to hang out with you. So call us at Analog Jones.
Yeah, come over. Let's do an episode. We'll talk about this movie. I'll talk about this movie with you until we both die.
I wonder if he even remembers this movie with all of his drugs.
Yeah, maybe not.
Well, it's not talked about a lot.
This movie isn't. It's not that it's bad. Maybe it's because it had such a small release, or maybe it bombed at the box office and then didn't take off on video, whatever. But yeah, this is not a talked about movie. But I think this is honestly a really huge hidden gem. Because I think beyond just my personal interest in it, I think people in general would like this movie. It's just a feel-good movie done really well by a director at the top of his game. I just think this is just a super positive movie, and I think everyone would like it.
Yeah. I don't think anyone... like I said at the beginning of this podcast, who doesn't like it? Who hates this movie?
They're wrong. They have no heart or souls.
Well, we can thank Anna Wong for that.
Yes, thank you, Anna, for giving us a kind of a fun podcast of mostly talking about Tom Sizemore and Robert Downey Jr.'s drug problems. No, not really. It was a fun movie. I liked it. I'm glad we got a chance to do this because this is one we probably never would have done.
Yeah. I mean, it's a favorite of mine, but where would we stick it? Where would this fall?
Ladies' month. Ladies' month.
So here it is, and I'm glad we got to do it, and I'm glad we get to preach the word of it. I hope people do find this movie, and I hope enough people find this movie that it does get a proper Shout Factory style release.
We'll see, and if it does, we're gonna stamp it. Yep, that's us. We did it.
We did it. Yep.
What are we doing next month, Matt?
Next week?
Fuck. Matt, what are we doing next week?
Next week, we are taking a look at the female coming-of-age classic, Now and Then.
It should be fun. I don't think I've seen this.
I saw it for the first time for this podcast, so...
I just love the idea of you guys sitting around talking about a female coming-of-age movie.
Little Women, Now and Then, the traveling pants. Matt and I sit around all the time, texting on. Well, actually, we're not even texting on our phone. We're just
You're being sarcastic, but I do just sit and watch these movies because they're great. I just want to feel good. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
I just have a movie playing in my head of Ashley walks in and everything, and she sees you with a bunch of tissues next to you and everything. She's like, he's watching another coming of age movie again. One day I'd like to walk in and you're just watching porn.
Not with me. With me, you get cheesy 80s and 90s fluffy movies. That's what you get with me. I'm not a crier though. I don't cry during movies, but I like them. I feel things.
I'm gonna keep the crying in my movie though, because I just to see you, bawling your eyes out. You're I want a pair of pants that all my friends and I can change into.
I do. Is that so much to fucking ask? I want to be in a sisterhood of traveling pants. Except me.
It'd be the Matt.
I just want friends.
The Matt Hood of traveling pants.
Yeah, nobody wants my
Matt's
pants.
traveling pants.
Nobody wants my pants.
Oh, Matt. I think I found your gay porn there where you're going to star in.
Matt's pants.
Yeah.
Oh,
when my career bottoms out, that's where we're going. For sure.
You and Tom Sizemore.
Me and Tom Sizemore. Just fucking. This took a turn.
The question is, will you guys be sober while on set or not?
Well, Matt won't be. Tom Sizemore's just like, I'm straight edge now.
He's actually thinking about it.
And I'm like, which way do I want to go with this? What's my answer to this question? I don't know. We're going to have to live it and find out.
All right, let's wrap this shit up because we're going down.
It's getting weird.
Yeah. Remember to rate and review us when you're on that little iTunes app. Just scroll all the way down to the bottom and give us a little rating.
A 5-star rating is the best.
And you guys, seriously, we need to get more emails to Matt at analogjonestof@gmail. I want to see his replies.
They're going to be good. I'm telling you right now, guys. I've been already pre-planning some gems.
He's a special writer, let me tell you.
Oh, that's what nobody ever says to me. So.
All right, remember to be kind.
And rewind.
Hey, do you guys like horror movies?
I do.
Do they always have to be good movies?
No way.
I prefer them to be crap, personally.
Well, then you guys are in luck because Horror Movie Night is your expert podcast on both horror movies, good, bad, and gooey. It's just a show of three friends.
Two brothers and a friend, I think you would call it. But we're all friends here, you know.
We're friends. We're all friends here.
We
goof around, but we talk about movies, but we normally don't actually talk about movies, which is kind of weird. It's a weird dynamic. You have to really listen to understand it. But we put together a show every Friday morning. You can find our show hmnpodcast.com. We're part of the Geekscape Network. We are, we're good guys. You should check us out. We're good, silly guys. We're fun.
Please like me.
Please.
That's pretty much the impetus of everything we do, is to be accepted.
We want to be loved. hmnpodcast.com.